Good morning and welcome to Know Your County right here on WDKN. Today is Saturday, December the 10th, 2022. My name is Justin Spurlock. I'm your host. And we have several events in Dickson County that I want to let you know about that are taking place today. First off, Charlotte is having an event, Christmas on the Square, right there around the historic courthouse. Join us for the City of Charlotte's annual tree lighting. That will be taking place today, December the 10th, from 5 to 7:30 p.m. There will be several booths, vendors set up all around the square, and there will be a lot of fun for the kids because Devonna will be there painting faces, making cool balloon animals. So there will be just a lot of fun for the kids. Santa will be arriving on a fire truck at 6 p.m., so make sure that you bring your cameras. Come out and join us in Charlotte. I'll be there with our booth set up, Redbird Realty, so come by and see me. We've got letters to Santa for the kids there. We've also got some goodies that we're going to give out, so stop by and see us. And my friend Willie Spate is a good friend of the show. He's been on our show a few times here. He is going to be setting up at his building, the Mallory and Leach building. He's going to have some really unique shirts that are local themed and handmade. I mean, Willie makes everything himself, and it's all very unique. And he's got some really cool canvas prints that you can put on the wall as well. So stop by and see him. Get maybe some last minute Christmas gifts. We've also got the White Bluff Christmas Parade taking place today. The Electric Christmas Parade will take place at 4:30 today in White Bluff. The Grand Marshal is Jimmy Orange, who served as Police Department Sergeant for 35 years. We also have two other honorary Grand Marshals, and that would be the Creekwood High School volleyball team, which won the state championship title earlier this year, and also Jack Martin, who won the cross-country state championship. He's a senior at Creekwood High School. He's also a local citizen here in White Bluff. And so those will be the three Grand Marshals today. The parade, again, will start at 4:30. But for all entries who are planning on being in the parade, make sure that you are there at 3:45, lined up at the William James Middle School, ready to go. We had some exciting basketball games on the air last night on WDKN AM 1260, and then on the other side, our FM station 101.5, The One. We had Creekwood and Dickson County basketball games last night. I'll give you a few of those scores. So the Dickson County boys lost in a really close game. West Creek defeated the Dickson County Cougars by a score of 79-77. So just 2 points. It was a very, very close game. On the Cougar side, Josh Cope with 25 points, Graham Peeler with 22 points. Unfortunately, could not get the win last night. But the girls, Lady Cougars, were able to seal up the victory against West Creek. They won by a score of 64-26. And so quite an impressive victory last night for the Lady Cougars. And earlier in the week, they scored 90 points. And they're really looking pretty good this year. You guys ought to go out and see them if you get a chance. They've got some freshmen that are playing really well and some veteran leaders. And it's a great mix. They're really performing well. And they're led by Anna Claire Milam. And A.C. Milam, as she is known, has done something really special. Last night, she was able to join the 1,000-point club. She scored 1,000 points in her high school career for the Lady Cougars, and so we're just really proud of her. Again, that's Anna Claire Milam, better known as AC. She joined the 1,000-point club last night, and earlier in the week, she announced that she would be attending Rhodes College next year, which is in Memphis, where she will continue her basketball career. So you've still got a few chances to see her play before she heads off. Her and the other Lady Cougars really looking good this year. Really hoping for good things for them down the road. Also in action last night was the Creekwood Redhawks, who were defeated by the Harpeth high school team 54-46. And on the girls' side, the Creekwood Lady Redhawks defeated Harpeth by a score of 75-35. So a victory for the Creekwood girls as well last night. And a lot of great basketball games coming up. This coming Friday night will be Dickson County and Creekwood squaring off in their first basketball game of the year against each other. And that will be at Creekwood High School this coming Friday night. So if you don't have any other plans, I have a feeling that will be a really good game based on what I've seen from both of these schools so far in the early season. All right, let's go ahead and take our first break. We'll be right back here on Know Your County, right here on WDKN. And we're back here on Know Your County, right here on WDKN. As many of you know, I took over hosting Know Your County almost 1 year ago, and I've had the pleasure of interviewing several community leaders, business owners, and just interesting people all around. And I wanted to take a look back in honor of the first year anniversary and replay some of the best interviews that we did over the past year. There are always businesses opening up in Dickson County, and this past year was no exception. There was one restaurant that opened up that I just really wanted to check out, and I happened to call the owner, and he was willing to come and sit down with me and talk about his new restaurant. It's called Luke's Burgers, and they also serve breakfast now, so it's Luke's Burgers and Breakfast. And Luke Frost is the owner, and he was kind enough to come into the studio with me earlier this year to talk a little bit about his restaurant just before it opened. So let's take a look back at an interview that I did earlier this year with Luke Frost. We've got Mr. Luke Frost in the studio with us to talk a little bit about Luke's Burgers, which is the latest local restaurant that we have coming here to Dickson. Luke, how you doing this morning?
Doing great. Thanks for having us.
I appreciate you coming in. So we've got Luke, and we've also got his wife, Misty, here. And we got you in here to the studio. We want to talk, about this new restaurant. Everybody's talking about it. It's the buzz around town. I think out of all the different guests and different businesses that we featured here on Saturday morning, I think this one is really got the people excited, and so I'm excited to ask you a few questions about it. But before we get in to the restaurant, I just want to talk to you a little bit about you and let the people who are listening know a little bit about you. So just tell us a little bit about your background and where you're from.
Well, I grew up in Georgia, which is kind of what I was a big Bulldog fan. That's where the Bulldog logo kind of come from. Coming out of high school, I got a scholarship to MTSU to play football. Had a really great time. Really loved Tennessee. Ended up staying. I had a family here, so just stuck around, and it's been great.
You got to Tennessee through MTSU. Tell me a little bit about your days there playing football.
Well, I come from a family that didn't have much money. It was if I was going to go to college, it's going to be through sports or something like that, and so. I worked real hard in high school. All the kids were partying, but I was at the weight room, working out and getting ready for football. And I played 3 sports, but football was my main focus, and it was my route to college. While I was at MTSU, I played tight end. Had a really great career there. Built all kind of long-lasting relationships. And it was just it was such a positive time during my life. I was going to plan it on playing further, and then I blew my knee out my senior year, so it was time to go to work after that.
So you're in Murfreesboro. Football has kind of come to an end due to an injury, and explain to me how you get from Murfreesboro over here to Dickson County.
Well, actually, I can blame Lowe's for that. I went to work. I had 1 semester left of school, and went to work at Lowe's. I was working third shift actually, for a measly $8 an hour. But through Lowe's, I moved up through the ranks, department manager, assistant manager, ended up as an assistant manager here in Dickson, at the Lowe's store, and eventually took on a store manager role in Starkville, Mississippi. But I had family here, so essentially it was going to bring me back here. And in order to get back home, and not to be driving back and forth so much, which I did that for 4 years. I look back on it now, I wonder how I did that. But in order to get back, I wanted to set up some type of income to bring me back home, because there was a good paycheck there, obviously, and that's what drove me down there. And that's what Lowe's does to keep you there. So, the location where Bulldogs is at now was up for sale, and we jumped on the option. So, and that's that. We're coming up on our 5-year anniversary now, so it's been very successful.
I want to talk to you kind of how you started Bulldogs, and then kind of how that led to Luke's Burgers. So right before the break, you sort of told us that the building went up for sale, business was there already, and you just kind of stepped in. Kind of take us through that process of how you sort of took it over and kind of changed it a little bit.
Well, my passion has always been around some type of sports bar, sports restaurant. I'm a huge sports fan, and Bulldogs wasn't necessarily exactly what we were looking for. But again, after 4 years of being on the road, I wanted to get home, so it was a great opportunity to get started. And I thought, we could use that location to create some types of a sports bar. And of course, being the building that it is, you'd be crazy not to use it for live entertainment. So it just kind of grew from there. We got some really top-notch bands and artists in there. Ali Colleen, Carly Rogers, of course, Larry Fleet played there several times. Three Doors Down, Dares Run, a lot of big names, and just kind of grew from there. It really started enjoying the process. And food was my passion. And the goal when we opened that business was to give back to the community, which we have been very successful at doing, and try to leverage and neutralize that bar name as a company that could be good for the community, and at the same time grow our food business. I feel really passionate about our burgers, and it just kind of grew from there. So we have pumped a lot of good food out of a tiny kitchen there, and I even tried to open a couple times during lunch to provide that food for more people during lunch. But that location is it's kind of like Varsity Blues when they walk out of the nightclub and the sun hits them. It's like, oh my gosh, that building's the same way. It's kind of dark. So nobody really was attracted to go into that location for lunch. So it wasn't very successful for lunch. It's a late night entertainment venue. And me and Misty both have been looking for a place to open a restaurant for over a year now. We looked at the old Ponderosa building. We looked at a couple places downtown, and nothing really fit. Either the equipment wasn't any good, the building wasn't good, they wanted too much money. So, unfortunately, when this situation happened with Tony B's, we were very caution. We before we approached the situation, but when the time was right, we approached Tony's sister to discuss the location and see if they needed some help with the location and everything that happened. And with our reputation for food and especially burgers, it was almost like God was calling us, like, here's your opportunity. The perfect location is open for you. Go after it if this is what you want. So, and Tony's sister Sheila has been so awesome to work with. She's been very awesome.
And people were really sad when Mr. Tony B passed away, and so the fact that you're bringing that location, sort of bringing that back, I think has got a lot of people excited.
Yeah, I think you're right. That was a huge turning point for our business. Even though we were shut down, it was a very tough time for the business. Being able to do that to-go food was a good opportunity to keep our employees working and keeping them getting paid. But it also was a good opportunity for the community to connect with us and our food. We were only open from 4 to 8, and we were pumping a ton of food out of there because all the restaurants were shut down. There's 30 to 40,000 meals per week are consumed by Dickson residents. And so we were able to provide part of that by doing to-go food. And we saw a lot of new faces come through there. And there was a lot of great support. There was businesses that wrote us checks that, just to keep us rolling. And that was really awesome because being able to do that kept us alive and kept us open in order to make it through that trying time. So, and like you said, it's the perfect opportunity to open another burger joint in that location, and all the feedback we've gotten, the support we've gotten, people posting on social media has been really tremendous, and we're looking forward to getting open and serving the community.
So you're aware of what he had going, and then you know what you're trying to do. Can you tell us maybe what some of the differences are, maybe some of the things that'll be the same for those that are interested?
Well, and I did support him. I support all local businesses. Try to stay away from the chains. Just being a small business owner myself, I know the challenges of running a small business, and it takes the entire community supporting that business in order for it to be successful. So, and he had a great burger. He did, and when I wanted it, obviously that's my passion. I want a good cheeseburger. I'd go over there and get one. As far as differences, without exposing too many nice little surprises we have, we're gonna offer a lot more than what he did as far as the type of burgers. And I'll just go ahead and let you know we're going to offer what's called a wild game trio. Now, it's very surprising that we were able to connect with vendors on this, but it's going to include a trio of bison, venison, and elk. So very excited about that. We're also going to offer some other type of burgers that are that we've already tried out at Bulldogs with some customers, and they're very excited about too. So we've fired up the grill with that, and really surprising, that. And then some of the other foods that we're going to offer is going to be a little different, a more expanded menu, to try and meet all the needs of our customers. So. And then, there's some other things that we want you to see once you walk into the building that we've changed to. So
I do know that we talked a little bit before the show about you guys are going to try to use some local vendors, maybe through your restaurant, try to keep things local. Do you want to talk about that just a little bit?
Yes. So this is Misty's passion. So I got to give her credit on this. She wants to connect with local farmers for all of our produce. Lettuce and tomatoes and things like that, because we take a lot of pride in our salads too. The salads that she makes me at home are the best I've ever had. So I'm excited to bring that to the restaurant as well, so everybody else can see. So we're going to have a build your own menu where you can have several options, from your buns to your protein to your toppings, your spices, the type of fries that you want. We're going to also offer things like pizzas, wings. We've got some great chicken sandwiches, salads, things like that. So
let's talk about that brand real quick before we go to our last break here and enter the last segment. Your brand. So when you started Bulldogs, obviously you didn't have a name yet, and so you're sitting there thinking, and I'm sure it's probably hard, to think of, what am I going to call this thing? That's what everybody's going to know it as. It's really important in a name. And so tell me a little bit about how you got Bulldogs, how you kind of settled on that, and then the new restaurant, how you decided on that name as well.
So when we were trying to determine a name for the bar, of course there was some hesitation there for me. We're in Tennessee country, big time ball fans. How are you going to open up a bar named Bulldogs in volunteer country? Well, you have to go back to what you believe in and what you're passionate about. And obviously, I'm a huge Bulldog fan. I had family that played at the University of Georgia. I grew up there as a fan. So if you're passionate about it, then just go for it. And just set your goals and go for it if you're passionate about it. So the Bulldog actually... the design was actually done by a local artist, Dutch, who was a tattoo artist here in town. He actually did the original design for the Bulldogs. And, when we were trying to determine a name for Luke's, we had several names in mind. We had a list of things we were going through. How are we going to name this place? And actually, my wife was the one who encouraged me, because Luke's was one of the original names. It's like, let's just be simple, call it Luke's. Everybody knows Luke for his food, so why not go for that? And she actually encouraged me to go with that name, and it just kind of fit. So then when you're talking about a logo, it's like, well, why change the logo up too much? Let's take the beer and the cigar off the Bulldog and put a milkshake and a burger in his hand and keep building from there. And I had several people who were friends of mine who were close to me also that were like, just, keep building that brand. People know that name, they know that logo, keep building that brand. So with the support of many people, my wife and many friends, we went with it.
I think it's great. I really like the way that they go together. And as soon as I saw that, I thought that's great, because you've already got a lot of popularity and a lot of publicity and momentum from Bulldogs. Like you said, why change it? Why not make it all part of the same family? So I like the way that you're doing that. Go get a burger during the day and then hit Bulldogs at night. It's
right.
The perfect combination there.
Right. And if you take your receipt from Luke's to Bulldogs, we're going to give you a discount. So
Nice. Very cool. Tell me a little bit about this new addition.
So when we started the remodel inside, we decided to kind of move things towards the front as far as the register goes. With the way things are now, a lot of people do to-go food. So to create a more convenient experience for them to just walk in and out and grab their food to go, we kind of built a bar off the side of the kitchen. And that this bar has turned into a huge project because, and I'm very, very excited for everyone to see it, because what we've done with this bar is we've kind of incorporated the American flag, Constitution, the Second Amendment, and all the service branch patches, the local police and sheriff's department patches. And we just completed the epoxy last night to epoxy the entire bar, and it looks phenomenal. I'm telling you, you're going to want to come check out this bar. And in addition to that, we have a system for draft beer that we're going to be able to offer 29-degree beer. It's going to be the coldest beer in town. You might be familiar with it if you've ever been to Twin Peaks or someplace like that, but we're very excited to offer this. I think this is an awesome addition to what the previous location did. I think that a lot of people can appreciate wanting to come in and have a beer with their burger.
Wait, is there anything else you want to tell the people before we get off here? Anything you want to close us out with in regards to Luke's Burgers and the opening coming up here?
Well, I just want to say thank you to the community for supporting me and Misty. I've got an amazing partner in her, and her supporting me in all of my ventures. But both of our passion for success and for food is going to be an amazing thing with this restaurant, and we're excited to offer it. Just be patient with us. We know y'all are ready. We want it to be great when we open it, and we want to provide you the best service and the best food in town. Seriously. Follow us on Facebook. We got a Facebook page and an Instagram page, Luke's Burgers. We will continue to update on those pages. We know that social media is the number one way to advertise these days, so we want to make sure to keep giving you guys content, and we will continue to do so, especially this coming week. We've got some great things we're going to be posting on there.
So stay tuned.
Stay tuned.
So thank you to you. Thank you to your wife, Misty. And congratulations, by the way. I wanted to mention this before the show was over. Congratulations on a recent wedding.
Yes.
Congratulations on that. And again, thanks for coming into the studio this morning. All right, let's take a quick commercial break. We'll be right back here on WDKN. And we're back here on WDKN. You are listening to Know Your County, and I hope you enjoyed that interview that I did with Luke Frost from Luke's Burgers and also Bulldogs. Really appreciate him coming into the studio with me earlier in the year and telling us a little bit about his restaurant just before he opened it. As we mentioned at the top of the show, there will be a Christmas parade in White Bluff today, and the Grand Marshal is Mr. Jimmy Orange. And I've got a little information here that was sent over from White Bluff that I want to share with you, just a little bit about Jimmy. So, in the tradition of recognizing a local citizen for notable contributions to the town's success, longtime police officer Jimmy Orange was a unanimous choice for this year's White Bluff Christmas Parade. Jimmy served the town of White Bluff in law enforcement services for a total of 42 years. In 1979, at the request of Mayor Jimmy Brown, Jimmy Orange started working as a part-time town employee while continuing to work at State Industries in Ashland City. He and Dean Hester were hired full-time by Brown in 1981 and completed police academy training as part of Mayor Brown's goal to have a certified police department. He and Hester continued to work as White Bluff police officers for the next 30 years, retiring together in 2011. Jimmy was then asked to assist with traffic control at the William James School Zone, leading to 10 additional years of service providing school safety. He is currently enjoying retirement and staying busy maintaining a friend's property. Jimmy has an interesting story about his birth and early childhood. His father, Sam Orange, was serving in the military and stationed at Liverpool, England in World War II, where he met and married Jimmy's mother and where Jimmy was born. His mother and her sister Margie were operating a clothing store, and at the end of the war, Jimmy's parents were ready to move stateside. Jimmy's Aunt Margie and his grandmother asked that Jimmy stay with them in England while his parents got settled, and he lived with them until he was 2 years old. The two families communicated by letters, and at the insistence of his mother, Aunt Margie brought Jimmy to the United States. The Orange family was living in Cheatham County but moved to Gray Road near the Harpeth River in Dickson County to work on a dairy farm. They then moved to Frog Pond on a farm on Stagecoach Road, where Jimmy grew up in a household of 7 children. Jimmy started first grade in Mrs. Dorothy Thomas's class at the William James School. Jimmy Orange is a mainstay of White Bluff, someone who loves the town and considers the citizens to be his friends. He was quoted as saying, "I knew when I started working as a police officer that I had found my calling." He has dedicated his life to ensuring the safety of 4 generations of White Bluff residents, and the town would like to say, thank you, Jimmy. Well, that's going to do it for us here on Know Your County. I appreciate everybody listening to not only Know Your County, but also the Old Timer Show and all of the Saturday morning shows. I appreciate you getting up with me this morning. Hope you enjoyed the shows. We'll be back next week with some more guests and some more news and local events to tell you about. So stay tuned to WDKN. We've got some great music on the way right here on your Dixon's only live and local station, AM 1260 WDKN and 101.5